How are you doing? And who are you?
So I am known as J.C. Bratton for Dollhouse.
I'm Samuel McIntosh, and I wrote and directed Metal.
I'm Joe Vikes, and I wrote Channel B.
Hi, I'm Carrington. I wrote and directed Let the Myth Be.
I'm Maddie Lynn Barnes, and I produced Channel B.
So I'd love to hear again from everybody what inspired you guys to make the particular film you work on. What was the genesis of how it all came to be? Starting. Anybody want to?
Let's go out of order. We came at this at a weird angle. Like at first, we were just like, let's mess with the format of a TV listings channel. That was the starting point, and then it was sort of like, what plot can we hang in this framework? So we went with the riff on the Max Headroom hack.
I was just thinking about the Max Headroom one. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if everyone's familiar with this, but basically, like, a bunch of hackers took over a TV station in Chicago in 1987, and it kind of, you get the sense that they didn't think it would work, because, like, it went live and they kind of just didn't know what to do, so it's like weird footage, but we thought that was a great, like, thing to riff on.
Yeah, and as soon as Joe sent the script, I was all in.
Yeah.
So Let the Myth Be, like, to me, is really about unpacking the idea behind, like, the paranoia of racism and the different ways it manifests with, like, you know, a black woman knowing what she's seeing, but then, like, her white friend very much telling her that's not what you're experiencing, it's not what's happening. And so I wanted to play with that in kind of like a supernatural genre-y way, and that's how this came to be. And we also had the location, which was nice. It was at my mom's house, so we made my mom's house really creepy.
Right on.
It started with the image. I wrote a few shorts and I just didn't love them or they didn't work out, and I wrote something kind of quickly. And the opening image of a person in this metal helmet having been watching cartoons for his entire life was like very striking to me, and also like made me want to like prod a little bit further, and I had some ideas about referencing the, you know, him obviously getting out eventually, and referencing the cartoons in real life and how those are his only reference point for the world, and how it's, you know, he's seeking something and trying to figure out where he fits in, kind of, and the cartoons are his only reference point. And then also just something that starts as one thing and ends as another, like starts as a horror film and then ends almost as like a coming of age comic was like an interesting idea.
So for Dollhouse, what happened was, so I'm a young adult horror short story writer, and I've written 4 short stories that became an omnibus called Things That Go Bump in the Night. And Dollhouse kind of came about because I was watching Richard Matheson's trilogy of terror, and I've always wanted to do like a story within a story, and that's kind of where it came to fruition. And then what happened was that because I had limited budget, I could only do one of my dolls, because there's 3 dolls in the original story, so I only did one of the dolls, and that's kind of how it came about. You know, just creepy dolls, story within a story.
I just love the design of that, of the doll you chose. It just really that just pulls you in and makes it much more believable. And I realize it's like based on a curse, pretty much. It's like a curse, and like what made the curse? Like, how has this curse come to you? How did you think about this particular one?
Well, so what happens is that in the original story, I'm focused on Bloody Mary. So Bloody Mary is the villain of all my short stories, and so these dolls are kind of tied into her. But you just don't see it because I had to we had to do just one of the dolls. So basically, you know, she needs to personify herself somehow, and she uses the dolls as a conduit. So it's kind of like that.
Excellent. Let's see. Let's go back over to you. Let's go in this direction here. We're gonna come back. Don't worry, we got everybody. So I really just love the commentary you have about, you know, how people of color and women are not, you know, whether perspective or not is seen. What particularly inspired you about this particular legend, this mythology for this particular film, for that particular story?
Yeah, so, I mean, I definitely made it all up. I feel like, so in terms of, like, something that feels very, like, this is what this story is about, there was one, so the night my mom got married, she got married out in like rural Oregon, like literally where we shot this thing. And there was a night where basically everybody had gone home, and then like all of like the adult children were kind of left on the farm. Everybody had gone off to wherever. And there was an Uber that kept coming back, being like, where's Lisa? Where's Lisa? We were like, there's no Lisa here. Like, please leave. We're in the middle of nowhere. We are like 30 miles away from like anything. So it's like for an Uber to keep coming back, there was a big Trump flag on the side of it, and it was like all women of color staying there, and we kept being like, something is not right here. And he came back 3 separate times, and we were like, this is like unwell. And I remember we talked to like my white family members, we called my mom on the phone, we were talking to all like these other people, being like, guys, something weird is happening. And they were kind of just like, you know, people are not out to get you. Like, just like crazy things are being said to us. And in the end, like the Uber driver did eventually like leave, but like I don't think I slept at all that night. Like, Ariana, did you sleep at all that night? No. Yeah. So like it was like a thing where it was like we were all very much experiencing and feeling something in that moment, like, but like anybody who was like a white person didn't seem to get it. And so that is kind of like where the spirit of this came from, and like the idea of like a monster in the shadows. I think what I really like about that is it's like, well, one, the fact that it was someone that was very close to the main character the whole time was very important, but also the idea that like it doesn't need to be like a like gory or like traditionally scary monster for it to be scary. Like the fact that we don't exactly know what it looks like or how it takes shape or what is the form is kind of like the point, because it can come in many shapes, sizes, forms, in very insidious ways. So that was kind of the idea behind it. Yeah.
And I liked it also, like your character almost was just like saying, okay, maybe it isn't real. Maybe this, I'm
Yeah.
imagining this, and she starts to burn it up, and eventually it comes back into fruition there.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think that's also how not be like this is how society treats women of color. But like that's what they do. It's like they like try to make you think that you are wrong, and like the monster only wins when like you fully invalidated yourself and your point of view. So even though like this short ends in a place where like she loses, someone please fund the feature. She wins in the feature. So
We're looking forward to seeing the future. Let's go in. Let's talk about that one that ruined my episode of Doctor Who. You know, it's like how did you make that also believable? It's like I'm like teleported back to like the 1990s or 80s or something, and it just seems very real. And just get the fuck out of my house, you know.
A lot of attention to detail, including shooting on Betagam and staying true to the era, which is really important to us, just to go in and be authentic. And then Joe can talk more about like finding the original software and writing all those crazy listings, which are impossible to get them all in the first view. So you can go find the film online and watch for the rest of the listings.
Yeah, the preview channel software is available online at the Internet Archive. Yeah, so it's in a server, like I guess around the corner from here, technically. Yeah, and you can download it, and then you have to load it into a Commodore Amiga emulator.
But you have the emulator.
There were like many steps, and it was
oh my God.
it was stressful, and yeah, I don't want to do it again. But it came out good, I think.
Yeah, it's super believable. I just love that.
Yeah, it's the real deal.
And metal. Oh my gosh, it's almost like a superhero origin story almost. Is that something you're kind of going for?
No, but I like that.
It's like he's a kick-ass guy, you know. It's
Yeah.
like, I wasn't sure what to make of him when I first saw him. Like, is he gonna be the serial killer? And then he turned out to be the awesome guy.
Yeah, and that's totally the thing. Like, I really love, like, in college I was watching like a lot of Korean new wave films for the first time, and I just love how like they have no like it's genreless. It's like the funniest movie you've ever watched, and also the like most disturbing movie you've ever watched, and then also the most heartfelt movie you've ever watched. And so I think
Take us to all the emotions here.
yeah. And so I think something like that's always intrigued me in my writing, but also a character who like you don't see his face, so you don't get those context clues. He doesn't talk, so you don't get those clues from him. So it's all about how he moves and also how everyone else interacts with him that starts to give us our understanding of him. And then you realize that he's not what you thought he was or what the world thought he was probably. Which is interesting.
I think that's what I appreciate most about it. It's like you definitely, first you have kind of almost like your almost stereotype of what you think you're gonna think about this guy, but then when you kind of get to know him, you actually really like him. Cool. All right. So let's start to open this up to the audience for questions. 'Cause I know you guys are burning ones. Right over there. Let's go. First one.
So that was supposed to have been his mom at the end?
Yeah, it's open to interpretation. I think I specifically didn't say super specifically who it is, but to me it's his mom.
Oh, okay. All right.
I wasn't sure what their relationship, but it didn't look good. Yeah, whatever.
Not great.
About. So anybody else have questions?
Can I ask one?
Oh, absolutely.
Was that hot? Was that mask hot?
Yes,
Was he okay?
he was okay. We put padding and stuff, but that's a real metal. Like we had some, like a fabricator make a metal helmet. It was originally like a knight cosplay helmet, but like real metal, and then we like fucked it up and put bolts in it and put fake rust all over it. But we put like padding inside, so at least it was.
Follow up. Did it smell weird?
It still smells weird, yeah.
From all that LARPing and stuff?
Yeah.
Or, all right. Any other questions? You know what I love? I love to hear stories from behind the scenes. Tell me about something interesting from each of your films.
Well, what's kind of funny is that, the person who gave me funding to make Dollhouse, what had happened was he challenged me because he was like, try to get this movie done before you start your doctorate program. And so I had to, scramble online to say, who do I go to? How do I make a movie like this? Because, I have the story, got the screenplay and so forth. It's like, well, how do I go about doing it? So I used ChatGPT. So believe it or not, ChatGPT, and I went ahead and asked, how do you go about doing this, right? And sure enough, a production company in Campbell, California, so I'm Silicon Valley, San Francisco Bay Area, of course. So what happened was there was just a production company just like literally down the street from me that went ahead and said, hey, yeah, we've been itching to do horror movies. We would love to do this for you. So it was pretty exciting to see something kind of like random end up being something so wonderful. And also I want to thank all of you. I heard so many laughs and screams and jumps, and I thought that was the coolest thing. Made my heart melt, so thank you guys.
What was the question? Behind the scenes?
Oh, just any interesting stories from behind the scenes?
I just guess influence-wise, other shorts that I've done have had a sort of tongue-in-cheekness to them, but they're more genre-leaning or more somber or more like one specific tone. And I think on this one, through writing it and through collaborating with people in the edit and afterwards, I started to realize how much cartoons influenced me when I was a little kid, and how I always think about movies and literature as reference for films, and on this one I really realized how deeply ingrained cartoons were in my childhood, and how to use that as a reference point. And even in the coloring, we had a lot of trouble finishing the film in a way that felt right. And then my DP Peter Pan also colored the film, and he started to be like, what cartoons did you watch? And we looked back at Courage the Cowardly Dog and back at SpongeBob, and he was like, we should probably color it these cartoons. And so that's where kind of the color tones and the magentas and the greens came from, is trying to make it feel a little push into the cartoon realm a little bit more, just visually and color wise and saturation wise.
And I noticed that you were using things like old Popeye cartoons and stuff. Was that something that you intended to use specifically, or was that because maybe those are running out of their the time limit on whether you can use them or not?
Yeah. All this stuff is public domain, so I would have used some other stuff if I had more money, probably, but
Get some SpongeBob in there.
yeah, I'd love to. But yeah, so that's all public domain, and some of it was found before the film, and some of it was found in the edit. There's a couple moments that were very serendipitous in terms of the scene where he's
Hamburgers,
looking.
right?
Yeah, hamburgers, and then the scene where he's looking at the fish tank. I didn't have that fish tank clip originally of the cartoon character looking into the fish tank, and that just clicked and made it into the film in a really perfect way.
Excellent.
We had a pretty dense shoot. I think was it 2 days to do all that? So I'm trying to rack my brain. But from what I remember, the office we shot in was this abandoned office, very much post COVID lockdown, company failure. So there were desks and shit. And it was right near LAX, so all of the jet fuel fumes were just flowing through all day. And I like to think that really helped us.
Yeah, we had a lot, a project, producing a project like that, there was a lot of logistics to handle, and so many different elements to balance. And going into day 2, our actor for the Get Out of My House guy didn't respond to the call sheet, didn't respond to emails, texts, phone calls. So had to hit up our second choice, our backup. And he came through. He showed up on time in Burbank on his little electric scooter, and he gave us, performance of a lifetime.
He was so dead on. So he really did.
He was so fun to shoot with, and we did so many takes. That's why we just wanted to incorporate a little bit more, so we threw that little nugget on at the end over the logo.
He was bleeding when he showed up.
I don't remember.
He had like these bandages and he was bleeding. And I felt bad. He kept making him yell it more, go bigger.
He was all in. He was having a good time. He was taking selfies with us and yeah.
That kind of method.
Yeah. It worked out.
Appreciate our method
A lot of
actors.
This is kind of more of like a fun fact, but like this film for me was just like an opportunity to work with all my friends. And like obviously all of my friends are incredibly talented and like so like just good at what they do, but I think I was also just blown away at how talented my friends were. Like my friend Ariana was the production designer, and she really knocked out of there's some like key set pieces that are like in the like kind of manic wall that the main character is like looking at, like that was very intensive and she like knocked it out of the park. One of my friends that I worked on a TV show with like years ago was the costume designer on this, and she never came to set, she never met the actors once, but she just kind of like met with them on Zoom each like once maybe or twice, thrifted everything in Toronto, sent it to us in Oregon, and every single piece of clothing fit, and I was just like, that is like insane. Like she's just so good at what she does. Even like my, another friend of mine from high school was the composer, and he knocked it out of the park. Like just, I think like for me, I just loved the excuse to work with my friends, and also was blown away at how talented and incredible these people are. So like both the leads I also went to college with, so like it was really keeping it in the family. So yeah.
Once again, I wanted to say how talented I think you guys all are, and I really appreciate watching all your films. Really quick, is there one last question? Okay, one more, let's go.
So to the extent that the audience is kind of inspired now to maybe, kind of start to tackle their own kind of film project, right? I'd imagine it would start with first writing a script, right? But then at some point you're gonna need some budget to, make the film. And that might be a daunting proposition for a filmmaker. Like how much, what were the budgets for these films? Like they came out great, so but give us an idea as to kind of what we should be looking at, like from a business standpoint.
Any suggestions, guys?
I mean, I'll just be transparent. So we crowdfunded our whole budget. We crowdfunded $25K.
Okay.
And I did, I've done sales before, so it was not hard. Like I hard asked every single person. I think everybody in this room probably got a hard ask from me. like all of these people over here. So and a lot of people in the room also donated and made this film a reality. So it was a lot of hard
How much
asking.
did you say?
25,000.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Across like 200 something donors.
Yeah, that's one of the trickiest parts of independent filmmaking. And so I run the production company Sprinkle Lab along with my partner who directed this film. And we've known Joe for a long time, so he presented us with some scripts. This is the one that we went with. We decided, this is something that we wanted to put some of our production company resources into. Joe as well put some of his own resources into it, and we were around 35 all in. So, it was just a choice to make it happen, make our dreams come true.
Yeah, I mean, it basically self-funded day job shit, and it's always, I feel like no matter how much the film ends up costing, it will always be at the limit of what you could afford, and it's always painful. And that's just like the fight, I guess, at the end of the day. It's like, if it's $100 movie, it's gonna hurt, but yeah, we made it happen, I guess. Yeah, probably do a feature next time with that budget, maybe.
Similar, I crowdfunded some of it and then I funded it out of pocket. Metal was like around, it started around 10,000 and ended up around 12,000. And just, yeah, I just knew what I had in my savings and I was ready to spend on this, and I don't spend money on anything else, so I won't, you know. And yeah, and then crowdfunded for some extra money, and they don't, you know, shorts don't usually make money, so like, if you can get a distribution deal or something, you can start to make a little bit money back, or like, you know, have some people invest, hopefully to get back end stuff, or to just invest to like begin relationships for bigger projects. I think is a great way to do it too, to go like, here's this thing, but I have 3 or 4 other things that I'd like to do that will make money, and like we could start a relationship here. You know, I think that's a good way to do it, or just what you're willing to blow. You know.
Yeah, mine's exactly the same sort of vein. You know, I'm in Silicon Valley, right? So I have access to a number of people who are in VC firms and things like that. Because I have my own production, or I'm sorry, I have my own publishing company, Blue Milk Publishing, which is what I use to make my short stories. But you know, I have some friends in Silicon Valley who were interested in seeing Blue Milk Publishing do even more and go into kind of like movies, film, etc. So that's kind of where I got my seed funding. So it was like 25,600, I believe.
Thank you guys all for your insights on this. So let's give it up for our filmmakers. Please be sure to catch up with them, follow them on social media or anything, because we want to know what happens. I know some of you guys are working on your feature length